Today we're going to be taking a look at the basics of playing Fallout Wasteland Warfare right after this. Hey everyone, Sam here from the Tabletop Hub, your one-stop shop for all things tabletop, and today marks the beginning of a series where I'll be teaching you everything you need to know about playing Fallout Wasteland Warfare. Now today what I really want to do is go over the basics of the game, help you understand how the game runs, and essentially what you'll need to set up a game and get playing with your friends. Now once we have that done, then we'll move on to more in-depth mechanics like scavenging, skill tests, and more. So Fallout Wasteland Warfare runs off a point system. Every unit has an associated caps cost, and you then have to choose the units you want to field wisely to make sure you capitalize on that point limit without going over. There are a number of factions in Fallout Wasteland Warfare, from Raiders to the Institute, the Enclave to the Brotherhood of Steel, and each one has their own unique playstyles. Now once you've got your units all picked out, you've got to set up your game board. Now if you're lucky enough to have lovely pieces of scenery that you can use, feel free to place them on the game board to add an extra layer to your gameplay. One thing that's incredibly important though is that you discuss what type of terrain each piece is before gameplay begins. So if you're playing with other people, have a chat and agree on whether the terrain on your board is normal, meaning you can move across it without penalty, difficulty, meaning they'll suffer a movement penalty, or impassable, meaning that, well, it's impassable. Now each game of Fallout Wasteland Warfare is played over several rounds. During each round, players take turns to ready and subsequently use each of their models once, and it's up to each player to decide which models and how many are activated and used each turn. So on your turn, you'll choose which miniature you want to make ready. Now you can only do this to a model if it has not previously had a readiness marker showing ready or used applied to it that round. Once that's done, you can either activate none of the ready models or activate all of the ready models. When all models on both sides have taken their actions, the round is over, a new one begins, and every model must be activated all over again. Now if you're wondering who chooses who goes first in the game, don't worry, it's whoever has the advantage marker in their possession. If you have the advantage marker, you can choose to go first or let your opponent make the first move. It's really up to you. Now unless otherwise stated by a scenario, the player with the fewest models is always granted the advantage marker. If players have the same amount of models, then it's given randomly. And at the start of each round, the advantage marker is always given to the player with the fewest miniatures. Excluding the first round, if both players have the same number of models at the start of a round, the player with the advantage marker must pass it to their opponent before doing anything else. So now that we understand how activation works, let's take a look at what your miniatures can actually do once they've been activated. So when used, a model can perform up to two main actions. You can perform two different actions, you can perform the same action twice, you can also perform any specific actions a model has access to due to their abilities or equipment, and that'll be detailed on their character or equipment cards. And they may also execute quick actions, which we'll talk about later, by spending action points they have been acquired through effect dice results. Now the different actions that a model can take are as follows. They can move, they can shoot, they can charge, they can enter into base-to-base close combat, they can use one of their expertise skills, which are search, computers, lockpick, and presence. They can prepare, which gets them ready to react to an opposing model's action or quick action, or they can throw, most often used to throw a weapon like a Molotov or grenade. Now during a game of Fallout Wasteland Warfare, very often when you attempt some of these actions, primarily shooting, expertise, melee combat, or throwing, the result and or success of the model is dictated by a skill test. Now when you're required to take a skill test, you roll a skill dice, which is a d20, accompanied by one or more effect dice, which are your d12s, which come in a variety of colours and indicate varying effects. Now, as we said earlier, every model's unit card comes with special attributes, which scores for strength, perception, etc. Next to these attributes are icons that represent skills that correspond with these attributes. In order for your skill test to succeed, the result after any modifications must be equal to or lower than the skill value, which is that number beside the attribute. If you're unlucky enough to be rolling for a skill value that is less than 1, the roll will only succeed if an exclamation point or critical is rolled. Now, if you're wondering which dice you're meant to roll for your weapon, don't worry, it's very handily indicated for you on the weapon or item card. Now, there are some symbols on these dice that's very useful to know about. The vault door icon is an action point. This allows some models to carry out a quick action in addition to their main actions. The exclamation point is a critical. Some models can use the critical effects of weapons when enough critical points have been collected. Any face with an X on it means that the skill test has not been successful. However, it can occasionally bear an extra action point with it, so keep an eye out for that. The blast icon counts as extra damage. These will add 1 to the total damage for each little blast icon before armor is accounted for. The broken helmet indicates reduced armor. Each icon will reduce the target's armor by 1. These negative numbers increase the chances of success as they lower your dice roll by the indicated amount. The Nuka-Cola bottle, star or mushroom cloud indicates special effects, which we'll talk about in a later video. Now, if you want to know how you win a match of Fallout Wasteland Warfare, it's not really as simple. There are a number of ways that you can win depending on what type of game you're playing. The easiest way to win, of course, is to just kill everything on the game board. All other ways to win are usually indicated in the scenario you're playing, so pay close attention to your campaign book. But folks, those are some of the essentials that you need to know before you start playing Fallout Wasteland Warfare. Next, we're going to be diving deeper into the actions that you can take in the game. So if you want to be notified of when that video goes live, as well as all my other Fallout Wasteland Warfare content, do be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But until next time, have a great week, and I will of course speak to you all soon.